When someone puts their money into your film, into your career, in your vision, they're doing something that deserves your deepest respect. That investment is not just capital, it is trust. Welcome to the Heart of Show Business. I am your host, Alexia Melocchi. I believe in great storytelling and that every successful artist has a deep desire to express something from the heart to create a ripple effect in our society. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of The Heart of Show Business. Today's episode is a little different. There is no guest, no interview, no industry panel, just me. And as we wrap another incredible season, I wanted to take a few moments to speak directly to you from the heart. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting the podcast and also supporting my book, my guests, my presence in the social media, and all the wonderful communities that we have built together. When I launched my podcast, my goal was simple. It was to pull back this myth around the entertainment industry and bring you honest conversations about what it really takes to build a meaningful career in film, television, and in media. Over the years, we've welcomed actors, producers, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, authors, visionaries from all over the world. We have discussed success, failure, resilience, creativity, business, purpose, and reinvention. But today, I want to talk to you about something else, and that is my latest book, Hollywood Money Traps. I know I did a little episode before on my book, but I don't think I was very clear on the reason why I wrote this book. When this book was released, I was so thrilled about the response to it, but I also noticed something interesting. People assumed that I was there to criticize Hollywood, to attack it, that it was a warning against filmmakers. Someone thought I was exposing the industry and I was a little bit cynical about it by now, but nothing could be further than the truth. I really love this industry. I've dedicated most of my life to it. I attended my first Cannes Festival at 19 years old, fresh out of high school. And I have spent decades since then producing, consulting, acquiring films, selling films internationally and in the US, attending markets around the world and helping creative people bring their visions to life. I had the privilege of working with extraordinary storytellers and witnessing firsthand the power that stories do change lives. Hollywood Money Traps was never written as an attack. It was really a guide born from experience. Because after more than 3 decades in this business, I kept seeing the same mistakes being repeated over and over again. And I tell that in my book, my own personal stories, witnessing that in the room, but also stories that feel very familiar to a lot of creatives out there, a lot of my industry peers, and a lot of investors, where investors were making decisions without understanding how films are financed, filmmakers that were entering partnerships without understanding the business implications, projects that were collapsing because the expectations were not aligned and the promises that were made were never realistic. And unfortunately, when those situations occurs, everyone loses: the project, the filmmaker, the investor, the movie, or the project itself. And my intention was so much more simple than that. It was to create better conversations and decisions and ultimately better outcomes. Because we do want people to keep putting money in the movie so that we keep telling those stories. And this book was written because I believe that creativity also deserves good business practice. Not because the creativity is a problem, but many lessons for this book are just as valuable, in my opinion, for filmmakers as they are for investors. Understanding financing, distribution, positioning, pitching, deal structures, and expectations is part of building a sustainable career. So if you've ever wondered where I stand, I want to say that again. I believe in stories. I believe in filmmakers. I believe in dreamers. I believe in those that are doing extraordinary things. And I love to create and combine education with business, with storytelling, so that we can all have a greater chance of success. So when I wrote Hollywood Money Traps, I got reminded of something very, very important. And it was my first book. I wrote my first book about 2 years ago. It was called An Insider's Secret, Mastering the Hollywood Path. That book came from a very different place. It was written to help professionals understand the industry, navigate the opportunities, avoid common mistakes. It had a little bit of mindset to it as well. So it was a convergence between mindset, creativity, and business. And I got so many countless messages of people asking, would I ever update it? There's been so much going on, as we know, with AI and the studios becoming more and more one of the same, the theatrical business suffering, the streaming being overcrowded. And so, yes, the answer is yes. I am officially excited that I will be working on an expanded edition of An Insider's Secret, Mastering the Hollywood Path. And it will not be a reprint. It will include new chapters, updated industry insights, guidance on pitching, branding, the international world, opportunities that we sometimes do not see, and lessons that I've learned from decades of experience working in both the creative and the business side of entertainment, because our industry has changed dramatically. And the way the projects are being financed has changed, the way the projects are being distributed, or the way even the careers are even happening at all have changed. And I believe there's a tremendous value in sharing practical knowledge that can help creative professionals move forward in spite of AI, in spite of all the studios becoming one, with greater confidence, finding new avenues for expressing themselves and doing meaningful work that is also profitable, by the way. And so this new edition represents a return to my roots, a return to education, to mentorship, to helping creative people understand not just the art of storytelling, but the business that support it. And I cannot wait to share it with you. I am planning to release it before the American film market in November, and I hope you will pick up a copy. But also brings me to yet another announcement regarding my podcast. For some time now, I felt the shift happening in my work, but also my personal life, as you also know, because I share pretty much everything about my life on social media. And I've reflected the conversations that I had through this podcast. And I realized one thing, that the most memorable conversations were not about Hollywood. They were about people who chose courage over comfort, people who reinvented themselves, people who overcame extraordinary obstacles, people who pursued extraordinary lives. So whether they were filmmakers, philanthropists, authors, spiritual teachers, athletes, innovators, there was always a common thread: the willingness to follow a calling, the courage to live a life beyond limitation. And so that realization inspired me to the next evolution of this podcast. So today, drum roll please, I'm excited to share that the Heart of Show Business will be evolving into a next season, and a brand new season and a new title called Chasing the Extraordinary. Chasing the Extraordinary was inspired by the memoirs of my mother, who's writing about her extraordinary life, and also part of my own memoir, following her footsteps and living alongside her in business and in life. And it reflects a belief that we both had through life, that extraordinary lives are not reserved for the select few. They're built through vision, resilience, curiosity, reinvention, persistence, uniqueness, purpose, and so much more. And so, especially the willingness to keep going when others give up. So, this new podcast will, of course, feature filmmakers and producers and authors and entertainment leaders, but I will also be welcoming entrepreneurs, humanitarians, thought leaders, founders, brands, adventurers, innovators, and people whose stories remind us of what is possible. At its core, the mission is exactly the same: to inspire, to educate, to uplift, and most of all, to connect. Connect the dots and connect with one another. Only now the conversation will be bigger. And with that, I'd like to say also that there are three things that I still believe in, and they're part a little bit of my life mantra, as we call it, or my rules for life. Number one is that the great stories still matter, no matter how they're told. In a world with so much negativity and confusion and just mixed information and fear, especially fear, great stories remain one of the most powerful forces for connection, for empathy, for understanding, for change. Please never underestimate the impact that your story can have. Number two is also that the right partnership can change everything. My mother has seen it in her life, that's for sure, because she's met the most amazing people. And you'll be seeing that a lot in the Chasing the Extraordinary memoir, but also the podcast in some other ways that we're expanding. And throughout my careers, I've seen doors open because of one relationship, one introduction, one conversation, one person who believed in someone else's vision. So invest in relationships authentically, lead with integrity, and remember that success is never achieved alone. And lastly, stay curious, keep evolving. The people who thrive are not necessarily the most talented, but they are the most adaptable. They're willing to learn, to reinvent themselves, to embrace the next chapter. And perhaps that is a lesson I'm embracing myself right now. So before I close out my season finale and the evolution of the Heart of Show Business, I wanted to share an excerpt of my final chapter, Hollywood Money Traps. And this is one that resonated for me. It comes after the investor checklist, and it's just a little part of it. A note to the artist. If you're a filmmaker, a producer, a director, a writer, or an actor reading this book, and I know some of you are, I want to speak to you directly for a moment. When someone puts their money into your film, into your career, in your vision, they're doing something that deserves your deepest respect. That investment is not just capital, it is trust. It is someone saying, I believe in what you're trying to make, and I'm willing to put something real on the line for it. No contract or fee can truly account for that act of faith. Honor it. Every decision you make on set, in the edit room, in the distribution strategy, make it as if the person you trusted is watching. Because in a real sense, they are. The money is in every frame. The faith is in every choice you make with it. The fire that keeps you going as an artist is often someone else's belief in you. Do not take that lightly. Do not waste it. Do not mistake for permission to serve at their expense. The artists who last, the ones whose name will still speak for decades, and their careers that keep on going, are the ones who understood this. They treated every collaborator, every investor, every audience member as someone whose trust had been placed in their hands. And they carried that trust faithfully. And now, the red carpet moment. I want you to leave you here with an image, not a cautionary one this time, a helpful one. Imagine the day, because it can happen. It does happen. And with the right preparation, the right partners, it happens more often than the horror stories that I suggested here in this book. When you're standing on the red carpet, the film you believe in is being celebrated. The people you backed are being recognized for something they made together. The audience that was always the point of the whole endeavor is discovering something that moves them, entertains them, changes, small or large, in how they see the world. You are there. You are part of it, not a passive bystander who wrote a check and hoped for the best, chose their partner carefully, and saw the project come to the beginning to the end with the eyes open and their integrity intact. That is the experience this book is designed to help you have, not just once, repeatedly, as you build the knowledge and the relationships and the judgments that make you the kind of investor that the best filmmakers in the world want to work with. There is nothing like what the satisfaction of a team, the money, the creatives, the producers who conduct the orchestra all coming together at exactly the right moment, in exactly the right configuration to create something that will last, something that entertains, something that moves, something that inspires, something that makes whoever's sitting in that theater feel a little less alone. Hollywood is a business, absolutely, unquestionably, and you should treat it as one. But it is also something else, something harder to quantify and impossible to replicate in any other industry. It is a place where stories become real, where images become memories, where a single frame of a film can carry something true about what it means to be human across decades, continents, and generations. That is worth protecting. That is worth investing in. Do both. Do them well and enjoy every moment of the journey. So, before I really, really close off, because this is really what it means to have an extraordinary life and to do something extraordinary, whatever it is you do, there's always an extraordinary in every moment of your life. And the future is scary, but can also be bright. And so I am excited for the expanded edition of An Insider Secret Master in the Hollywood Path. I'm excited for the continued conversation around Hollywood money traps. Please let me know if you end up investing in a movie because of the book, or if your movie is successful because of the book. I'm cheering for you. But also, I'm excited for the memoir of Chasing the Extraordinary and what I'm creating with my mother, my business partner, my best friend, who's been next to me through thick and thin, even when she had a health challenge earlier on. We're here more determined than ever with our company, Little Studio Films Publishing, to put out books, to build the Chasing the Extraordinary brand, which I can't wait for you to know more about beyond this podcast and the memoir. There's so much more. And because of that, thank you for believing in the power of story. And until next season, when the next season happens, keep creating, keep dreaming, keep showing up. Never, never stop chasing the extraordinary. I'm Alexia Melocchi. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you next season. The Heart of Show Business, soon to be Chasing the Extraordinary. Over and out.